Located in Solano County, Vacaville, California has the unique distinction of being considered both in the Central Valley and Bay Area within California. Solano State Prison, which first opened its doors in 1984, has become home to more than 3,800 minimum, medium, and maximum security incarcerated people. At around 8:09 p.m. on November 6, 2024, as officers were conducting security rounds, they found incarcerated person Darian Hernandez unresponsive in his cell.
Hundreds of inmates here at Solano Prison in Vacaville are hoping for a second chance, parole, and California officials think the key is rehabilitation.
Hurt people.
These prisoners are doing sentences like 25 years to life, some for the most heinous crimes imaginable.
The hurt that we carry, we take it out on somebody else.
They don't know if they'll ever get out. Still, they're trying to understand what went wrong and how they ended up here.
I seen your hand up, Mr. Glass.
One of my biggest fears in the past was rejection, right? And communication skills were lacking, to say the least, because of my alcohol and drug abuse.
In my family, a lot of it always went back to, quit complaining. I'll give you something to cry about.
Help.
Some of these inmates are trained to work as mentors to fellow offenders. Take Jose Hernandez.
We can't do nothing to change the past of what we did because it's written in permanent ink. But we do have a choice today. We have the tools now that we didn't have 20 or 25 years ago.
In 1993, Hernandez strangled his ex-girlfriend to death. Last year, the parole board found him suitable for release, but Governor Brown reversed it, saying he thought Hernandez was too high a risk to public safety.
I'm going to go back to the board, and I'm going to go back to the psychologist and be as best as a person as I can be every single day.
Programs like these are part of a major shift that Jerry Brown has brought to criminal justice. For the first time in decades, rehabilitation for long-term inmates is a funding priority. Some classes are being aimed directly at lifers, from anger management to how to reconcile with their own family members if they're released.
The situation.
Instructor LaWanda Green is working with these inmates on developing empathy for their victim.
Probably I'm at a point where I don't care anymore, right? Because somebody calls me to be a victim. The toughest part is when you have the person who believes they were valid in doing their crime, the gang-related crime where they believe it was either me or them. I had no other way to make another decision.
Today is graduation for one group of lifers who've completed a series of classes.
I'm really grateful to be here. I've never done this before.
The special guest is not a typical graduation speaker. 6 years ago, Teresa Cordemanche lost her son, Matt, a Fairfield City councilman who was shot and killed at age 22, a victim of mistaken identity. She remembers the night she got the call.
It was my friend Terry, and she said, I think Matt got shot. I'm like, what? And she goes, yeah, Teresa, I think he got shot. And I said, okay, let me go. Let me call his phone. And I kept calling his phone, and he didn't answer.
This is one way that inmates hear about the impact crime has on their victims and families. James Ward responds passionately.
I could do 1,000 years in prison, 10,000 years in prison, and it would never match what you have gone through. So, when you think about unfairness, my fellow murderers, think about her. And that is real unfairness. Can I say that I have been treated unfairly because the governor pulls my date?
Ward has spent half his life in prison for killing his ex-girlfriend over 30 years ago. He's now 64. After being turned down 5 times, he was recently found suitable for parole and will be released November 5th, unless Governor Brown blocks it.
Pleased, I want to get out of prison, but I understand the cost that symbolizes.
Ward says the classes inside prison have helped him understand the pain he's caused others.
I have the opportunity to get found suitable and get out and pick up the pieces of my life. They don't have any place where they can go appeal and say, bring my loved one back. They don't have that. that. So that's, I think about that.
Mr. Sternberg.
In past decades, only a trickle of lifers got out. Parole boards were conservative, and past governors reversed up to 95% of parole recommendations. But a 2008 state Supreme Court ruling made it harder to deny parole on the basis of the crime itself. Since then, nearly 2,300 lifers have gotten out. Deputy Director for Rehabilitation Roger Meyer says it's now a priority to help these offenders prepare for life on the outside.
Some of these inmates, when they came to prison, there were no cell phones. They've never used an ATM before. For 20-some years, they've been told what to eat, what to wear, when to get up, when to report. It would be remiss if we didn't try to ensure that they are successful when they do go out to society.
These programs promote personal growth for the inmates and help show they're suitable for parole. Rehabilitation also reduces the chance that offenders will commit new crimes, says Cynthia Flores DeLion, who heads the Office of Victim Rights and Services.
It's an opportunity for them to now internalize and say, okay, how can I make my life better so that I can get out and be successful and not re-victimize?
In fact, statistics show that lifers who get out are among the least likely to commit another felony, says UC Berkeley criminologist Barry Crisberg.
Now, part of that is because they stay such a long time, and when they get out, they're pretty old. I mean, the single thing we know from criminology is that getting older reduces your probability of committing crime. If you combine that with programs preparing people for release, you can make those rates even better.
I'm thankful that I have that I can share with them.
For Bridget Fitting Nevin, statistics are no reassurance. Her father, Timothy Fitting, was killed in 1990 by an employee who struck him in the head with a wrench 24 times.
If you cross that line, that you're capable of crossing that line in the future. There was always this comfort that I had, knowing that this person was in jail and that, I was protected from that. This is put together by our family.
In June, her father's killer was found suitable for parole. Nevin worries that the programs inside prison are coaching offenders on what to say to the parole board.
Our community, I feel, at large, is put into a vulnerable situation. It's, in my humble opinion, some of these parolees are ticking time bombs. We're basing all our comfort on statistic probability that now these individuals aren't capable of committing crimes, just based on their age.
Nevin will urge the governor to reverse parole for her father's killer. For lifers who are found suitable for parole, freedom brings new challenges. Here in downtown Berkeley, the nonprofit Options Recovery Services offers ex-offenders a place to land when they get out. Tom Gorham is program director.
When we started Options Recovery Service, we didn't have housing. We didn't have a mental health clinic. And this program is built on what the clients show us that they need. And one thing they needed was a safe place to stay.
2 years ago, that's what David Hillary was looking for. He had been granted parole after serving 18 years on a life sentence for second-degree murder.
What do? It's like, I've been gone for 18 years. I didn't have a driver's license. I didn't have insurance. I'm on parole. I don't have a doctor. Finding these little nuances of what being a responsible man was, learning that is a tall task.
While behind bars, Hillary obtained certification to work as a substance abuse counselor through a program run by Options. After his release, Options gave Hillary a room in transitional housing and put him to work, teaching classes for recovering addicts at Options.
So, two things in life that show up quite frequently: triggers and warning signs. What is the difference?
For some reason, me and my boyfriend...
But my amends is living different, because I don't necessarily believe I have the right to a second chance. I believe that if you see my actions are indicative of a different person, have some compassion.
California still has some 26,000 lifers in prison, more than any other state. Criminologist Barry Crisberg says there's no one-size-fits-all solution to crime and punishment.
The issue is not punishment. We're going to punish these people. The question is, what's enough? Is 20 years enough? Is 25 years enough? Is 35 years enough?
As policymakers grapple with that question, the state hopes to expand programs to help more lifers.
The growing gang violence that is stretching throughout the Central Coast. It was last night 3 more people were shot in Soledad and Salinas, and today many are asking what's behind all this recent violence. Answers from Action News reporter Felix Cortez, who's live in our Salinas newsroom with our top story. Felix?
Well, Dan, police say one word, gangs, but they're not ready to say a gang war is currently underway. Another violent night on the Central Coast Tuesday as 3 people are shot in 2 separate shootings in Soledad and Salinas. In the Salinas shooting, police say the gunmen are suspected of robbing this Arco on North Davis just moments before they shot a man inside his home while women and children lay on the floor.
The majority of these crimes, not only in Salinas, but in the cities that you mentioned, the factor that the common factor in all of these is that there is gang affiliation mentioned.
And it's gang affiliation that police say left men dead in Greenfield, Sand City, and Seaside in recent weeks. Police not ready to say a gang war is currently underway, but they say the crimes are clearly being carried out by gangsters for the benefit of their own gang.
And we may have a team of gangsters that's out, putting in some work. Or, on the other hand, it could be, somebody that's coming up and they want to make a name for themselves. And this is how they do it, by committing crimes. We could also have somebody that, maybe has been recently been released from prison that, has, some work to do, or somehow are directing, some of the younger gang members to, commit some of these violent crimes.
After Tuesday night's shooting in Soledad, Police Chief Eric Sills says the violence won't stop until people get involved.
It comes with the territory, though. This is just, it's another example, though, of what I think the people have come to accept and tolerate. And it's unacceptable, quite frankly. And we need to have more people come forward.
Police say in nearly every shooting, both the victim and gunmen are known gang members, and they say the investigations are hampered by uncooperative victims and witnesses. Dan, Aaron.
All right. Thank you very much, Felix. It's a growing problem, and police say they need your help. If you know something about a crime, you can report it using the...
Our top story at 6, a bad day to be a gang member in South Monterey County. A major raid by law enforcement turned up everything from guns to knives to gangsters. The sweep was mainly focused around Greenfield, and we were there for the takedown. Let's go live to Action News reporter Brittany Nielsen for the latest.
Well, Aaron, South County City's hard at work today. They intended to make just 6 stops and searches here in Greenfield. Instead, they made 12. Surprise visits at the homes of 12 known gang members in Greenfield Friday.
It's all 4 cities. There's a total, I think, of 21 officers. We broke them up into 3 teams with 1 sergeant leading each team.
Was he in the plaid?
Yeah.
Okay. I saw him after he passed, and I was like, he looks like a good one.
A Cal Grip sweep with King City, Greenfield, Soledad, and Gonzales teaming up once again.
You want these guys to comply with probation and parole. You want them to stay away from the gangs. You want them to, do the right thing, but they don't always do it, and that's why we have to continue to do these gang sweeps. Now all 3 teams are going to different locations, just checking on their list of targets that they were given.
They showed up at the homes of the known gang members like 22-year-old Juan Barajas and conducted probation and parole searches.
That's not my room, man. I told you right now. She got the wrong room pointed to you, bro. This is what you guys found in my room? In that room?
Yeah. Also, they've been, in and out of jails. They've been to prison a couple times. Some of them are, 2 strikers. They, again, are absolute known gang members.
At the Barajas home,
well, we found the probationer that we were looking for. He is in the house, and we also found some ammunition, which is in violation of his conditions, and we found a rifle also. Hold on, relax. Relax. Turn around. Turn around. I'm going to check to make sure. I'm not going to let you into this house. Turn around. Let me check. Come on. We're just having the ammunition on a felon is it's a new penal code charge, which he could get up to prison time, actually.
all these cameras for, man?
5 arrests in all were made. 2 were juveniles we can't show you.
Well, it surprised me. It must have surprised them, too. Ideally, if we show up and everybody's in compliance, everybody's following the rules, nobody's getting in trouble, nobody's gangbanging, nobody's associating, they don't have any violations in their house, they have no gang indicia, then we did something right.
And these officers are not done. They are already in another South County town where they have another 6 searches slated for this evening. Aaron.
All right, Brittany, thank you. And both locally and across the country, we are seeing law enforcement making some progress in their fight against gangs.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Green Lit Gang TV. Much love, much appreciation. Thank you guys so much for checking out the channel today. It means a lot. Really quick, let's get this out the way and jump right into the story here. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please hit the like button. Please leave a comment, engage in some conversation, and subscribe. So far in 2025, because of you guys, we've been doing very, very well. Numbers are going up slowly but steadily. And you guys seem to really like the theme so far, sticking within the CDCR, covering the murders, covering all the, I hate to say it, but all the action coming out of there. And we are sticking with that today. We're going to be covering a case that happened towards the end of last year out of Solano State Prison, November 2024. This murder of Darian Hernandez was the 53rd at the time. I think, I don't know exactly what California ended on, the California prison system ended on for 2024, but I think 2025 will surpass whatever 2024's number was. So without further ado, let's just kind of jump right into it here. Then we're going to break down the 2 individuals and kind of the information we got on them. Vacaville, California. So California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation officials are investigating the November 6, 2024 death of an incarcerated person at California State Prison, Solano, as a homicide. At 8:09 p.m., officers were conducting security rounds when they found incarcerated person Darian L. Hernandez unresponsive in his cell. Officers would immediately initiate life-saving measures and activated 911. Emergency medical personnel arrived on the scene and continued administering life-saving measures. However, Hernandez would be pronounced deceased at 8:52 p.m. Another incarcerated person, Jonathan M. Perez, who was housed in the same cell, was removed and placed in restricted housing pending an investigation by the Solano Prison Staff Investigative Services Unit in the Solano County District Attorney's Office. And then, of course, the Office of the Inspector General gets notified. And then, of course, they have to wait till the county coroner determines cause of death, but I'm sure at the time the officers, they didn't say this time, it didn't say that, hey, there were prison weapons found or homemade shanks found. So who knows exactly how he died. By all accounts, so Jonathan M. Perez, although it's alleged still at this time, is the likely culprit of this. Both these guys were pretty young. Hernandez, only 25. He was received from Monterey County on February 13th, 2018 to serve 12 years and 4 months for assault with force likely to cause great bodily injury as a part of a street gang act, carrying a loaded firearm in public with a prior felony conviction, and assault with a firearm conspiracy as a part of a street gang act in commission of serious felony. He received an additional 4-year sentence on May 12, 2021 for an in-prison offense of an assault with a deadly weapon or force likely to inflict great bodily injury. That's always a mouthful reading that stuff. Perez, 23, was received from Ventura County on January 27th, 2021 to serve a 15-year sentence for assault with a semi-automatic weapon and use of a firearm to inflict great bodily injury. Now, I don't have a bunch of information today on their past crimes or, kind of what led them here. Obviously, they're both Sureno gang members. Now, the one thing I am happy to talk about on my video today and on my channel, because it's funny, I did like an hour and a half of research just to find out Hernandez's gang, or what I'm 99% sure is his Sureno. They're both Sureno gang members, but I'm pretty sure, almost all the way sure, I found out Darian Hernandez Sureno clique. And then I spent another hour and a half just combing through the internet to find Jonathan Perez's Sureno clique. And because if you guys know anything about this stuff, they don't readily, because they don't want the gangs to get credit, because gangs like seeing that, hey, a Sureno killed a Norteño in such and such prison, right? They like that stuff. That's respect. That gains notoriety, infamy. So, the public, our newspapers, our online sources, whatever sheriff's department, whatever police department's covering these cases won't just readily say, this is the gang that did it. Okay, you can always tell with some face tattoos. A lot of times with the hair, sometimes just the look. I feel like I've done enough of these videos. I can kind of tell you a northerner or a southerner right away. But I was trying to go deeper. I was trying to find out exactly what clique. Now, They were considered upstate Sureños. Darian Hernandez belonged to a Mexican Pride Locos clique. Remember, he came out of Monterey County. Monterey County, in that, is Salinas. Every single video, every single article I've read on Salinas, it's Northerners. There's a heavy, heavy Norteño presence. So to be an upstate Sureño in Monterey County, and they said he was from Salinas, it takes some balls. It really, really does, because they are not the strong numbers there. They are not the strong group out of Monterey County. It is absolutely ran by the Northern Mexicans. Now, Jonathan Perez, he was even harder to find. I had to go on a video, read through the comment section, go on another video, go on a Reddit post to kind of confirm what clique he was part of. I was able to read a comment on an old classmate of his that grew up with him, went to middle school, high school with him, and he said from the jump, Jonathan Perez was an active Sureno gang member. Always down, always getting into trouble, first one off the porch to do whatever. And he was a member of the West Side Crazy Boys, a Sureno clique. Also, he was out of Ventura County, but again, considered an upstate Sureno. And for whatever reason, these two were housed together, and something happened. Now, Solano State Prison, I think these guys were like on a level 2 yard. So, reading through stuff, some people say, one of them must have been no good, or something happened, or one of them got word. I believe that maybe one of them, in the form of Perez, got word for whatever reason, to take out Hernandez, unless there's some sort of other internal, personal matter that we don't know. Maybe there was just a disagreement. Maybe it was just a fight turned deadly. But that is all the information I have for you guys today on this story. Again, these murders that happened within 2025, or, even within 2024, they haven't wound the way through the court system yet. So I will do updates on these. I'm always reading articles. I'm always researching. I'm always doing stuff. I will double back another year, 6 months, whatever it is. We will come back to these. We will give updates on these stories. Keep rocking with me. You already know what it is. Until next time, peace.